Radio 102.3.
We are feeling so great. That was yours, Kevin. You want a little bit of Van Halen, baby.
Absolutely. The David Lee Roth Van Halen, preferably. Sammy Hagar just didn't do it for me. David Lee Roth Van Halen, that's where it's at.
Well, let me just say, Kevin Rose, you can add that name to that list because, Kevin, it is such a pleasure to work with you. I enjoy doing 4 shows a year with you. Kevin, my great friend, a CPA from the wonderful firm. And I tell you, you're working for an unbelievable company in this town, Henderson, Hutchinson, and McCullough. Kevin, welcome to the show, and your daughter now 10 months old. Congratulations.
Yeah, but I appreciate that, Jed. She's 10 weeks old.
10 weeks old.
But it seems like 10
gosh.
months sometimes when you're staying up all night. But, yeah, it's been 10 weeks.
10 weeks. All right. I'm so sorry. 10 weeks old.
Absolutely. No
What's
problem.
her name again?
Her name is Eliza.
Eliza. So, Kevin, your great wife, 10 weeks old. And listen, for the first time, he's brand new in town, but his in-laws have been here forever. James Purgason, welcome to the show, buddy. A graduate of the Citadel. You've worked in Atlanta. You met Kevin there. And you said, you know what? I think I really need to be in Chattanooga. You love it here now, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Chattanooga's not a bad place to be at all. Outdoors, everything.
Well, it's great to have you here. And let me just tell you, I told you earlier you're working for a great company. So, James, welcome. And we, of course, got to thank Kim Cooley for setting all this up for us. So, Kim, if you are listening right now, Kevin and James were here about 40 minutes early, so they did fantastic. All right, 267-1023. By the way, we got a gift card tonight. It's the holiday season. You want to go to the Red Lobster, $25 gift card on me, and it's the Tax Help Hotline. Any questions about taxes? We know right now that it's just the middle of December, but, I mean, it's going to be here. I mean, we
Sure.
want to talk about anything that needs to be done right now before the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for small businesses, which we work with a lot, obviously, there's certain things you can do towards the end of the year that you want, depending on what type of taxpayer you are. If you're cash basis, you want to potentially delay invoicing some of your clients so you can roll some of that income into 2015, which is obviously a good thing. Conversely, you'd want to prepay some certain expenses so you can get the benefit of the deduction. So there's a number of things. Also, you've got retirement plans you could put in. There's a number of things that you want to consider as we approach year end. And obviously, the clock's ticking. Like you said, you've got about 2 or 3 weeks left, and then the window is closed. Yep.
All right, 267-1023. It's the Tax Help Hotline. Let's go. Hey, Matthew, it is so good to have you on the show. Is this my great friend Matthew?
Yes, calling from Atlanta. How are you?
Matthew, good. Hey, both of these guys used to live in Atlanta, Matthew. They are out of there. You are next, buddy.
I'm working on it with your help.
We got plenty of room here, buddy. What's going on, Matthew?
Not much. I'm at the YMCA trying to get rid of the holiday feast I had with some people I know very well.
Good. What's your
I have
question?
3 quick questions. One, can you write off things, health-related expenses or fitness, like joining the Y or buying fitness equipment? Is that a tax deduction too? Can you write off expenses trying to help settle your deceased parents' estate? And 3, can you write off expenses trying to find a new job?
Very interesting. All right, you want to hang on and listen, or you want to hold on?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's go with the first one.
Great
fitness question.
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions, Matthew. I guess my first question would be: what's your line of business? Are you a personal trainer? Do you do something in the fitness industry where maybe we could you could take the position that that's a business expense?
Yeah, he's in construction.
Oh, in construction, I got you.
But can that
It's more of a medical expense, right?
Well, it's a stress relief. I mean, which is so tough in that industry. Can that really be?
Yeah, unfortunately, the IRS would probably disallow that. You know, if Matthew, if his trade or business, or if he's construction primarily, but if he did something on the side, maybe doing some personal training or something like that, then I think you've got maybe an argument that, hey, this fitness equipment, all these types of things they're deductible. I mean, they're business expenses, but otherwise they would be deemed to be personal expenses, Matthew, and unfortunately that you wouldn't be able to deduct those.
All right, James, what about the second thing? He was talking about settling his parents' estate.
Settling your parents' estate, I believe that would be taken on the estate tax return, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that right, Matthew? Is that the question?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying if I had to spend my personal money on things that that the estate can't reimburse me for, am I able to claim those expenses myself?
Yeah, and James, you may have a different take. What I would do on that is I would say those are production of income or protection of assets. Those were expenses that you incurred to protect your assets or those of your family. So I would deduct those. Unfortunately, with those, they'd be limited with regards to the deductibility. You've got a 2%. Yep. Yeah, you got a 2% itemized deduction threshold that you'd have to pass. But I think you could make a pretty decent argument that those are bona fide expenses.
And the last thing I think was traveling expenses for business.
No, that's the last one was if you had to find a new job and relocating and you're traveling back and forth to other cities to find that new position. Is that deductible?
Great question.
Well, you can look at is that required for business, and if it's unreimbursed, then you can take it as an other miscellaneous itemized deduction as an unreimbursed business expense against your W-2 wages or business income.
Gotcha. Okay.
Matthew?
I won't be able to claim it. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, great questions. I just wish you'd move here, buddy. We'd love to see you here.
I'm working on it.
All right, buddy. Stay well. Hey, Jack, it's great to have you on the show. Jack, what's your last initial? We want to send you to Red Lobster, man.
Elm.
All right, Jack, you're on the air with Kevin and James.
Oh, thank you very much. The employer that I work for, we have about 100 people total, and out of that 100, there's only 23 that participate into the 401.
Mm-hmm.
The 401 they're going to do away with because I was told that it has to have an audit because of Enron, and it's like $10,000 is what we were told, and basically it's not worth it to do it.
Okay.
So they're going to end that. What can I do with that money?
Well, Jack, that's an interesting point you bring up. So, was the company 120 people at one point, or is there just now 100 people?
It was 120 or 30 people, something like that.
Okay, gotcha. Because, if it's and I agree that getting an audit of the 401k plan is, from an employer standpoint, it's costly, and there's really minimal benefit other than complying with ERISA and things like that. But if you just cross the threshold, the company just crossed the threshold with 100 employees, then they would not need an audit. If they had 120 employees, then you need an audit. And if you drop down from 120 to 100, then you have to have an audit going forward. But if it's just 100, I think you probably need to revisit that. And certainly would be more than happy to talk to you or talk to your CFO or whoever's the key person over there to talk through that, because I think you may, based on what you just told us, I don't know if the company needs an audit for the 401k plan.
Hey, Jack, can we give you his phone number? His name is Kevin Rose.
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot it out.
Yeah, sure. It's 423-756-7771.
And they're Henderson, Hutchinson, and McCullough, right downtown next to Warehouse Row and what used to be the Depot. And it's they've been around forever. It's just a great, great company.
Well, thank you very much.
Jack, it's great to have you on the show. We do appreciate it. Hey, Lisa, welcome to the show. You're on with Kevin and James. Lisa, what's your last initial?
M.
All right. Lisa, go.
I have a question. It's something I've been doing for a long time. I've been working with several nonprofits who all these nonprofits rescue, animals. And I do a lot of fostering in my home under their guidance. And, of course, I incur, and I do it because I love it and I'm passionate about it, but I also incur quite a lot of expense. And just listening to your program, I thought, is there a potential to make this to tax deduct this? I am a bona fide rescuer, but I am not, linked up with anybody.
She brings up a great point, because some of these people who are passionate about animals, they will spend a fortune.
Absolutely.
I mean, especially if it's, heartworm problems. I mean, you can get into the thousands of dollars
just
here.
Some food on a monthly basis.
You're right. So what is, if you're not a 501c3, what happens with somebody like Lisa?
Well, if you're working for a 501c3, you can get them to acknowledge what you're doing on their behalf, and maybe they provide you a statement at the end of the year. Instead of you giving them cash, you are buying these supplies, et cetera, on their behalf. And therefore, if they give you a statement at the end of the year acknowledging that you haven't received any goods or services in return, it could be a qualified donation.
So you've got to keep track of your expenses, the individual person.
And you would want to work with that qualified charity who you're doing the work on behalf of and get them to acknowledge, hey, these are really paid on our behalf.
Would I need a letter or something from them?
I would absolutely want to include that in your year-end files, documenting that you have paid these out of your pocket in lieu of giving that charity cash. And in that letter, it needs to explicitly state no goods or services were received.
Thank you so much.
Man, that is a great answer, James. Thanks very much. Once again, he's new in town. He's with Henderson, Hudson, McCullough, James Purgason, and Kevin Rose. It's the Tax Help Hotline. Come on, folks. You got free advice. We know that it is December the 10th, but we would love for you to call in April 15th, right around the corner, 267-1023. Also, because it's the holiday season, we are giving away a $25 gift card to Red Lobster. The phone lines are open. Let's go, business owners. 267-1023. A little bit of JC. This is what you wanted. James, welcome to Chattanooga, buddy.
Oh, nothing better than a boy named Sue.
Well, he must have thought that it was quite a joke, and it got a lot of laughs from lots of folks. Seems I had to fight my whole life through. Some gal would giggle and I'd get red, and some guy'd laugh and I'd bust his head. I'll tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue.
If it's worth talking about, you'll hear it here. First, 102.3 FM, WGOW.com.
Hi, I'm Tanya Gentry, Executive Director of Breast Cancer Support Services, Chattanooga's oldest nonprofit breast cancer organization. We were founded in 1992 by Chattanooga survivor Elaine Hill and her friend Martha Lee, and in 2011 we changed our name to BCSS. We are dedicated to providing support, services, and resources to women and families living with breast cancer no matter the length of survivorship. Our dedication starts with 2 monthly support groups and a therapy group, providing nurturing environments where survivors can share their experiences. BCSS also provides financial assistance to patients while they're going through treatment, as well as mastectomy bras and prostheses to women in need. Our quarterly educational series keeps survivors up to date with presentations from medical and health professionals on current topics related to their disease. All of our services are provided free of charge to breast cancer survivors in our 19-county service area. If you are a survivor and would like to connect with other survivors to share your experience, contact us at 423-629-2445 or online at bcss-chattanooga.org.
This is Professor Overdrive from the Car Clinic. Tune into the Car Clinic every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. You'll get the big prize. Free advice on car maintenance. The Car Clinic is sponsored by Professor Overdrive at Hickson Transmission and Total Car Care.
And Dr. Diesel from Diesel Plus in Ringgold.
We're here with Kay from Keefe Plumbing. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kay Keefe, the owner of Keefe Plumbing. Our company's been serving the Chattanooga area since 1950, and I'm Chattanooga's first female master plumber.
I understand it got pretty busy last year during the deep freeze. What happened?
A lot of people didn't realize that they had some spots where their pipes were vulnerable, and they had pipes that had never frozen before that had frozen and burst.
But that can be avoided this year. Tell us what your guys do.
First of all, they will check all the outside faucets and make sure the hoses are off, and then we'll go under the house if there's a crawl space and check all the foundation vents. And if there's a place where, the air or wind could travel over the pipe, we will seal it up. And sometimes there's people that aren't in a good health situation where they can't get out and check that themselves, so we can come do that for them.
And for inside the house?
Leaky faucets, commodes, drains that need to be unstopped, water heaters.
They do it all.
And we're fast.
Call Keefe Plumbing. 622-3178. Serving Chattanooga since 1950. Voted Best of the Best 2014. Keefe Plumbing.
The Tennessee River Gorge Trust is devoted to preserving the Tennessee River Gorge as a natural sanctuary for our community today and for generations to come. They accomplish this goal through land protection, education, community engagement, and good land stewardship practices. Of course, every good plan requires a strategy, and the Trust's plan is simple: to sustain and expand its historical successes and serve the community. The Tennessee River Gorge consists of 27,000 acres carved through the Cumberland Mountains by 27 miles of the Tennessee River. The gorge is simply beautiful and provides a home for 1,000 varieties of flora and fauna, including rare and endangered species. To learn more about the Tennessee River Gorge, please visit the website at trgt.org.
Your favorite station now travels with you thanks to iHeartRadio. That's the free app that plays this station and over 1,500 of the best stations across the country. Download it free on your mobile device. Get started at iHeartRadio.com.
Hi, folks. Dr. B here with information about my friend Dr. Benji Miller. a fellowship-trained sports medicine specialist at Chattanooga Bone and Joint Surgeons. From Friday night football injuries to the weekend warriors with their normal aches and pains, Dr. Benji Miller can take great care of you. Dr. Benji specializes in shoulder, knee, hip, and ankle injuries, as well as joint replacement surgery. Don't forget the walk-in clinic. If you've got a sudden injury, no ER wait, no ER expense, just great care. Walk-in clinic open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, Friday, 8 till noon. Dr. Benji Miller and the Chattanooga Bone and Joint Surgeons, 1809 Gun Barrel Road. Great surgeons to assist in your orthopedic needs. Phone 893-9020. Chattanooga Bone and Joint Surgeons. They got me out of pain. Why not you?
Jeff Stiles, Jim Reynolds, Kevin West. Weekday mornings at 6:02. WGOW Radio.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Let me tell you how it will be. There's 1 for you, 19 for me.
I can't interrupt them. One more.
'Cause I'm the tax man.
Absolutely. That's what this show is all about. I tell you, it's only December, folks, but April 15th, right around the corner, we're doing this one last show with Henderson, Hutchinson, and McCullough. It's the Tax Help Hotline. Get your calls in. Great to have Kevin Rose on the line and also James Purgason, new to Chattanooga, and it's all sponsored by Henderson, Hutchinson, and McCullough. All right, let's go. 267-1023. Get the tax questions in. Free advice, and somebody's going to the Red Lobster on me for $25. I can't believe nobody's calling to ask questions.
Yeah,
all right.
Especially with the Red Lobster gift card there. I mean,
come on.
It's quite
man,
the incentive. Yeah, they got those cheese biscuit things. Those things are,
It's heaven, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. 267-1023. The phone lines are wide open. All right. We get a ton of calls on this when it comes up to January and February. But what about real estate, especially if you have rental properties? Great question.
Sure. A lot of times, people have a rental property and they'll obviously receive checks for that monthly and things like that. Like they get concerned that, hey, I'm going to have a pretty stiff tax liability because I've got, this additional stream of income. So, what am I supposed to do there? But surprise to many, what you can do is typically when you have a rental property, it's going to trigger a loss because of there's a non-cash expense. It's called depreciation. And what you're doing is you're writing off over a period of years the value of the property or what you bought the property for. So typically what happens, obviously, a lot of times there'll be a bank note attached with the property, and there'll be some repairs, other expenses. So when you take those expenses plus this non-cash depreciation expense, the sum total of all those typically eclipse whatever rental income you have. And a lot of times it'll trigger a tax benefit. So when people are concerned about, having a rental property, having rental income, and maybe they're considering not reporting that income or something like that, they may want to reconsider that because a lot of times there's quite a benefit that can be attached to that.
I love to ask this question every year. By the way, the Tax Help Hotline, let's go, 267-1023. You got two excellent CPAs here from Henderson, Hutchinson, and McCullough. Hey, James, what about some red flags for the IRS? What would be true red flags these days?
Well, red flag is going to be anything that looks out of the ordinary. It's kind of, if it smells funky, it probably is funky. If you've got a guy claiming he made $20,000 in a year and he's writing down $40,000 of charitable deductions, obviously that's going to raise a red flag. They're generally going to look at the most abused items, business use of home. You're going to look at your business mileage that you're taking against your W-2 wages. And the reason is because people tend to inflate that or not keep good records. Now, if you got good records, this is not to dissuade you from taking that deduction. It's just to warn you, hey, that may not be the area where you really want to push the envelope.
If you're a 1099 and you are using your cell phone, but let's say it is a family cell phone.
Right.
Your calls that you are making are on one of those lines. Can that be the whole bill be written off? Do you have to go through and specifically target your phone numbers? Because I hear people saying, "Oh, I just write off everything." It's like,
sure,
what's going on here?
Yep. I mean,
I'm such an idiot because I'm not that smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to your first point, no one's going to take the time to kind of go. I hope no one is going to take the time to go down their cell phone bill or has the time to kind of itemize every call or something like that to really kind of carve out. I mean, believe it or not, at times IRS uses a common sense approach on certain things, and I've dealt with the IRS on certain audits for 1099s or sole proprietors where they have expenses. And to James' earlier point, when you're a 1099 or you're a sole proprietor or independent contractor or something like that, a lot of times, the IRS will, especially if things are out of whack, they will pull those for audit because of the lack of record keeping. So that's an important point as well. But for the cell phone, it's basically, you'd probably want to use an estimate percentage of business use. So if this is your only phone and you're using, obviously there's going to be some personal use, similar to an automobile. There's going to be some personal use, but if it's primarily for business, I think you can kind of do a general estimate and kind of work with that.
Kevin, can you take us through an audit, just role play here? What is it like? I mean,
sure.
You get that? I mean, is it? Well, I'm gonna get to that in a moment. Let's get the phone calls on, and then I want you to take us through an audit and just walk us through it.
Sure.
Hey, Doug, great to have you on the show, buddy. What's your last initial? We got a gift card for you if we pull your name. Doug, what's going on?
H. Hey, got two questions along the real estate line. Don't know if you're like Phil. I've got a basement that I'm having put in, doing a mother-in-law quarters, and not taking out a second mortgage or nothing, paying cash as we go. Probably going to be a $50,000 to $75,000 expenditure.
Wow, you're a nice son-in-law, man.
Wow. Is there any way to get any tax benefit from that? And then the second thing is mortgage related to and tax is I know you can give a family member some money to help maybe out with the down payment. If you do that, am I just grasping at straws? Is there any tax break for that, or is it just you do it because you're a nice relative and then you kind of lost out, but you did help your relatives out?
Yep. No, those are great questions. I'll tackle the first one. So this mother-in-law suite, you're renting it to a non-family member, right? It's just an independent third party, just another person that you're renting the property to. Is that right?
No, it'd actually be a mom/mother-in-law.
Okay, gotcha. And she's paying you, I guess, fair rental value. I mean, you're not really cutting her a deal, I guess.
No, there's no benefit at all that I'm charging her. It's totally free. She's helped offset some of the cost with her money.
Wow. Gotcha.
And then some with ours.
Gotcha. Okay. On that one, unfortunately, since it's not being actively rented or held out for rent, that $50,000-$75,000 will just go into the total basis of the home. So when you later go to sell the home, you'll be able to reduce your gain on the sale by that $50,000 or $75,000 that you invested in the home to do the repairs and the improvements.
Is there a certain amount of time that elapses after you can't do that anymore? If he went to sell the house?
No, because he paid X for it, and then he did invest a lot of cash to make all these types of improvements.
So that can last for several years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Well, what if the thing is, too, say that I sell the house 2 years from now, and I know that I'm not going to be able to recoup that $50,000 or $75,000. I know it's going to increase in value, but I know it's not going to increase that much.
Right.
I kind of out to dry too on that.
Yep. So if you sold it, we'll just use numbers because that'll help me if that's okay. So say you paid $200,000 for it, you put in $50,000 to do the improvements, and then you sold it for $300,000. Your gain.
Well, say you put close to numbers. Say you put the house is valued at $250,000. You put $50,000 in it to bring it up, and so that's a $300,000 value. But it doesn't put it right away in the next 2 years, and you sell it for $280,000. What do you do about that extra $20,000?
Gotcha. So you got a $20,000 loss at that point, right?
That's correct.
Yep. So the problem with that is, and you're obviously not going to like this answer, that the IRS would say that's a personal loss at that point. So that's not going to be a loss that you'll be able to deduct.
Well, on the flip side of that, the reason is because they allow you to exclude gain on your personal residence, up to $500,000 gain if you're married filing joint. So they give you that kind of benefit, but they won't let you deduct the loss on the principal residence.
Yeah, and with that exclusion James is talking about, you have to live at the home for at least 2 out of the last 5 years. So I would think if that's your primary residence, you would qualify for that if you did sell it at a gain, But unfortunately, if you did sell it at a loss, so you paid $250 for it, is that right, Doug?
No, around $200, and then we're going to put $50 in it.
Okay,
so
gotcha. So if you bought it, okay, I got you. So if you bought it for $200 and put $50 in it, then you sold it for $300, your gain would be $50. And going to what James was saying, you could probably exclude that gain from tax because of their specific favorable provisions out there for gain on the sale of your personal home. So. But
it's kind of like the contractor was telling me is, hey, it's kind of like a bathroom or kitchen. You may put $50,000 into the upgrade or whatever. That doesn't mean that automatically your house has increased $50,000 in value immediately.
Hey, Doug, did you have another question?
Just about the family member, but the one thing I have taken away is, gentlemen, thank you for your time. Instead of filing joint, I think I'm going to need a joint, then file.
Yeah. Doug, good sense of humor, buddy.
All righty, thank you.
And his mother-in-law's coming in. Hey, Kenny, it is so nice to have you on the show. Kenny, what's your last initial? And Tim, hold on, buddy. What is it?
It's O.
Kenny, go, buddy. You're on the air.
I have two quick questions. First, the last caller actually was able to answer some of it, but I've been married for 1 year now, and 2 months after I was married, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law lost the house they were living in. They currently live with my wife and myself. I was curious, one, if I was able to claim one or both of them as dependents since we paid for everything of theirs.
Wow.
And my second question is I work a part-time job delivering pizzas, and I know one of the things you can do on an itemization is you can deduct mileage for business. Is that a business that I have to own, or could I deduct it being an employee at a local pizza restaurant?
Kenny, you're 1 year into marriage, and you've got those two. Man, Kenny, you're incredible, buddy. All right, here's your answer.
All right, Kenny, so to answer your first question real quick, if you provide over half their support, you're absolutely entitled to a dependency exemption. That does mean, though, that they lose the ability to claim that on their tax return. And you'll see that on your Form 1040 when you file. Just be sure you advise them of that, because if the IRS gets two returns claiming the same Social Security numbers, they're going to kick it back and say, hey, what's going on?
Great answer. What about the pizza mileage?
As far as the pizza mileage, if it's unreimbursed business expenses, i.e. cost out of your pocket that the pizza company did not reimburse you for, you can take that as an itemized deduction, assuming your other itemized deductions eclipse the standard deduction.
Yeah, they should. I put almost 1,000 miles on my car a week. So.
Wow. Man, who do you work for, Kenny?
You actually come into our place occasionally, stick them out in Domino's.
Man, y'all do a great job there. Absolutely. Hey, Kenny, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. And, well, you're just a nice guy, man. Married a year. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot to swallow
Wow,
right there
man.
out of the gate. I mean,
man, have a pizza on me. Hey, Tim. Wow. Tim, what's your last initial, buddy?
C.
All right, Tim, you're on the air with Kevin and James. It's great to have you, Tim.
Thank you. I just recently purchased a new automobile, and I was wondering, is sales tax deductible on your income tax?
that's a great question, Tim, and that's one of those that is the Congress is kicking around. It's something that's been out there for several years, and it has not yet been extended. The likelihood that it gets extended is going to be, I would put it at a high probability. But to answer your question, as of right now, you cannot. But when you actually go to file your tax return, by then Congress will have passed the extension of that particular provision, and you will be able to deduct the sales tax that you bought or that you incurred when you bought the car. And
will it go into effect for this past year or no?
Yes, yeah.
They generally make those retroactive.
Yeah. Really?
Because
Wow.
they're doing it late.
Yeah, they'll do a retroactive. Yeah, I mean, it's this is not unusual. This is something that kind of happened. There's several different provisions that.
Is that going to be a boon for a lot of people then? Is that going to be a plus?
Well, here in Tennessee is definitely a plus because there's no state income tax per se. I mean, we have the Hall tax, which is a tax on your investment income, but. What you can do is you can take the greater of your state income tax or sales tax. So obviously for Tennessee residents, it's typically going to be, unless they work in Georgia or another state, it's going to be their sales tax. And if you bought, like Tim here, if you bought the car, you want to make sure to add that as a sales tax incurred on a specific purchase. So if you're making any big purchases like that, a car, boat, something where it's a big ticket item where you have a lot of sales tax attached to it, especially in Tennessee. It's not in a
great
quarter.
question.
So yep,
not a lease though, correct? It has to be a buy.
Yes, because with a lease you would not pay sales tax on that. I don't believe.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
I don't
think
listen
during this holiday season, you're buying those big ticket items. It might be worth setting aside those receipts and seeing what kind of sales tax you're paying.
Great advice, Tim. You brought up a great point.
Yeah. One more question, please.
Yeah.
If you're seeing clients and say hypothetically you charge the person $100 and they only pay you $80, are you able to write off the $20 they won't pay you as a deduction?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tim. And I don't know what do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking? I'm just kind of
rehabilitation consultant.
Okay, and the answer to that question depends on what type of accounting method, and not to get like that, but what type of method you keep your books on. So if you pay income as you receive cash, then you would not write that off because you did not report that $100K of income. You would only report $80K when you received it. So that would be the answer there, that you would not write that 20 off. But if you're what's called an accrual basis taxpayer, you would have have had to accrue that $100 as income, and then we only collected the 80, you would write off the 20. So at the end of the day, it's going to be 80 is what you're going to pick up, but it all depends on how you keep your books. You're probably a cash basis, so you would not write off that 20. You would just report the 80. That'll be the net amount.
And you could look at it this way: if you paid tax on 100 and you only collected 80, then you get to take it. But if you never paid tax on that 100, you're not going to get to take that.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Tim, great call, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. We've got Don. How you doing, Don?
Hey, guys. How you doing this evening?
Good, man. What's going on?
I got a question for you here. I'm kind of put myself in a bind with this. About a year ago, I did a quote for an individual on some repairs to a home, and turned that quote in. They turned it in their insurance company. Insurance company cut a joint check between me and that individual.
Uh-oh.
In order to purchase materials, check had to be cashed. Basically, cashed the check, person disappeared. Now I'm on the hook for the taxes. What are my options?
So I'm guessing the 1099 was issued to you for the full amount, correct?
Yes.
What you will want to do is on your business, I don't know if you file a business tax return or if you're a sole proprietor, you're filing it on your individual return. But long story short, you are going to claim that full amount of the 1099 as income, and then for half of that, I would write it off as, hey, income received by another individual. And that just ensures that the IRS system matches up that, hey, this 1099 hits your social, it sees that you claim the full income for that amount, but then you're reducing it below by the amount that you never actually received. Because that does happen. You oftentimes have a 1099 issued to one person, but they never received all the funds.
Yep.
And so that's kind of an easy way to get around that.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, because I actually didn't receive any of it. The money was cashed, and she said that we would get together on picking up the materials, and disappeared.
Wow.
So I never seen a dime from it.
Yeah, and let's just say it's $100. You put $100 as income and take $100 off below. You just want to make sure it shows up on that income line so it gets matched up.
Yeah, because Don, what James is saying is, the IRS, they'll electronically match up that 1099. They'll see your Social Security. They'll see the amount on the 1099. So you got to report that as revenue, and then you would just offset that by the fact that you never receive any of the cash, so you don't want to pay tax on that, and you shouldn't.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the route I'll take then, guys. I appreciate it.
Don, it's a great question, man. Some great calls. Come on, folks. The Tax Help Hotline is up and running. Kevin Rose, James Purgason. James.
Sir.
Y'all are doing fantastic tonight. Two pros from Henderson, Hutchinson, and McCullough. This is the last Tax Help Hotline for this year. You got free advice, folks. 267-1023. We're also giving away a Red Lobster gift card for $25. Come on, folks. Who wanted this? This is you. This is Train.
This is me. Meet Virginia.
I love
That's
this
a classic
song, buddy. Come on, give us a call.
Song.
She never compromises, loves babies and surprises, wears high heels when she exercises. Ain't that beautiful? Meet Virginia.
There is only one live and local in Chattanooga. This is the place. Local hosts react in real time. Folks you know, every weekday from early morning until early evening. 102.3 FM, The Dog Monster.
Hi, I'm Tanya Gentry, Executive Director of Breast Cancer Support Services, Chattanooga's oldest nonprofit breast cancer organization. We were founded in 1992 by Chattanooga survivor Elaine Hill and her friend Martha Lee, and in 2011 we changed our name to BCSS. We are dedicated to providing support, services, and resources to women and families living with breast cancer no matter the length of survivorship. Our dedication starts with 2 monthly support groups and a therapy group, providing nurturing environments where survivors can share their experiences. BCSS also provides financial assistance to patients while they're going through treatment, as well as mastectomy bras and prostheses to women in need. Our quarterly educational series keeps survivors up to date with presentations from medical and health professionals on current topics related to their disease. All of our services are provided free of charge to breast cancer survivors in our 19-county service area. If you are a survivor and would like to connect with other survivors to share your experience, contact us at 423-629-2445 or online at bcss-chattanooga.org.
Rock City's Enchanted Garden of Lights has become a family tradition for children of all ages in the Chattanooga area for 20 years. Children make the wonders of the holiday season come to life, and healthy children are the greatest gift of all. Nowhere is that more understood than at the Ronald McDonald House in Chattanooga. This holiday season, make precious memories with your children and help families with sick children by visiting the Enchanted Garden of Lights. A portion of the proceeds of every admission benefits the local Ronald McDonald House. Rock City's Enchanted Garden of Lights.
When you sit at a desk all day, there's something about literally putting your hands in the dirt, digging, and actually creating something that's really beautiful. Your neighbors become green with envy. I'm Jed Mescon. This Saturday morning at 11, it's the monthly gardening show brought to you in part by Beatty Fertilizer in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Unlike all the rest, lots of banks say things like this, but how many actually deliver on their promise? Southern Community Bank knows small businesses are the backbone of our local economy. The business services offered by Southern Community Bank provide business owners with the tools to manage money quickly and efficiently so they can stick with the business of growing their business. Loan decisions are made quickly by local people who care about the Chattanooga area and its success. Visit the new downtown Chattanooga branch, 817 Broad Street, Southern Community Bank. Find out why they are unlike all the rest. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Radio with Jed Mescon. Saturdays on 102.3. Sell your crap on air and it's all free.
Tradio, every Saturday, 7 a.m. on the Talk Monster.
Before you order online this Christmas, check with McKay's for even better deals. From games and gaming systems to vinyl, CDs, iPods, Blu-rays, VHS, and DVDs. Keep your money local and get it same day with a deeper discount. McKay's also carries audiobooks, cameras, controllers, tablets, and literally a ton of books with all genres of hardback and paper books to fill everyone's stocking. Easy access with hassle-free parking. Just one exit past Hamilton Place, 7734 Lee Highway, and online at mckaysbooks.com.
This is Dr. B, and we have Dean Norwood on the line. Dean, you recently had the home additions experts out to do 2 addition projects for you. Why a sunroom?
I wanted a place I could sit in and enjoy the sun year-round. We've abandoned the living room, and we pretty much live out here.
And now what about the basement build-out?
The basement is mainly used for storage and freezer space, washer, dryer, and then I've got a full bedroom and a full bath down there now.
How did you get started with the additions experts?
Well, I've known these guys for a little over 4 years now. I first met them after having a major stroke, and they had to come in and do major repairs. Those guys busted their butts for 4 months to get this house ready before I came home, and they did an excellent job. That's why I kept coming back to them. Mike Keebler and Danny Spalding are thoroughly professional.
I'm Mike Keebler. To request your free book and DVD entitled The Homeowner Success Guide to Attached and Detached Additions, visit theadditionsexperts.com. That's theadditionsexperts.com, or call our 24-hour recorded hotline at 822-2369. That's 822-2369.
When you gotta know, you turn to us. WGOW Radio.
It's all cold down along the beach.
Of course, Bono, bad bike wreck. He had a bad bike wreck.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Couldn't perform in New York City the other day.
Okay, so Bruce. Okay, I was wondering what was going on there. Okay,
leave it up to the boss.
They said it wasn't a big crowd either. I mean, I guess they weren't expecting it.
I saw it on TV. It was leading to Monday Night Football or something?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So, the boss, baby. Santa Claus coming to town. So is the tax man. Hey, it's great to have you listening, everybody. Kevin Rose and James Purgason. James is new to the city, that his in-laws have lived here forever. James, it's great to have you here from Henderson, Hudson, and McCullough. I forgot your wife's name again.
Jennifer.
Okay, we're playing her favorite song coming up. She wanted
Dancing in the Moonlight.
It's coming up, buddy.
All right.
James, it's coming up.
She better be listening.
She better be listening. All right, here we go. Hey, Jason, great to have you on the show. And, Jason, what's your last initial?
Hey, Jed, it's B.
Okay, but Jason, go ahead, man. You're on the air. We'll help you out here.
I just had a question for Kevin and James. Last couple of years, I've deducted some sales tax on my tax returns. Just wondering if that was going to be the case again this year.
And that's something we spoke to a little bit earlier. That's included in that tax extenders package.
Yep.
As of right now, the answer is no. But the recent news out of Congress is the legislation's on the floor. It's been approved by the House, and we expect that to go through without hiccup. So I think it's a fairly safe bet to go ahead and assume that's going to be the case for 2014.
Yep.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, Jason, hey, all the best to you, and happy holiday. Hey, Rachel, great to have you, Rachel. What's your last initial?
G.
All right,
I'm with
Rachel.
the Northside Neighborhood House.
This is my friend Rachel from the Northside Neighborhood House. Rachel, I am so glad you called in, and I wanted Rachel to call in because I think the world of this nonprofit organization.
Absolutely.
They do so much great work, and they have a wonderful thrift store not only on Cherokee Boulevard, but also across the street from the Baylor School.
Yep.
But I wanted Rachel to call in because you brought up a great point about giving to 501c3s. When it comes to non-cash donations, what's your advice, especially for somebody like the Northside Neighborhood House?
Absolutely. Well, a lot of folks are going to rely on the Northside Neighborhood House. I'm sure they're aware of the filing requirements. Individual gives something to them, they need to acknowledge receipt of it, acknowledge that no goods or services were given in return. That way that individual can...
Okay, I dropped off a ton of stuff at the Northside Neighborhood House the other day, so they said, do you want a receipt with that? How specific do you have to be on that receipt?
Okay, so there's kind of what the IRS rulebook says and what the common sense says. And they say you need to list everything out, the estimated value, how you determine that value. But, as I say again, generally the IRS is trying to rehab their public image.
Yes.
And so generally you'll get common sense folks. If you're working with them and they get kind of the idea that you're not running them around and you're being truthful about your stuff, it's all about kind of building a repertoire with them and just saying, hey, look, this is what I got. This is how I came up with it. If it seems reasonable, they're generally going to take it.
Kevin, God forbid, if you're ever audited, will that come up? Like they'll say, listen, Jed, what was this bag you gave to the Northside Neighborhood House?
Yeah, I mean, that could certainly come up if you gave a bag and you valued it at $5,000 or something like that. Then I think you probably want to kind of drill down a little bit and kind of tighten up your records kind of on the back end and maybe have Northside Neighborhood House. Because if you're giving them something worth, or whomever, something worth $5,000, you probably want some kind of, as James had mentioned earlier, you want some kind of written notice, some kind of documentation that you can file away. So you may want to kind of tighten up your records, or at least itemize the stuff that you gave, and kind of some people have gone so far as to take pictures and things like that.
Wow,
I think that may be a step a little bit too far. I don't know if that would be something that I would do, but you probably want to at least kind of tighten up your records a little bit. And Rachel, Jessica Heltzler, one of our colleagues, she's heavily involved. I think she may be on the board over there.
She is on our board of directors.
Yep.
And another question I had for you guys,
Sure.
We are looking for year-end donations, too. It's one of our busiest times
Absolutely.
of the year with high utility bills, and we do a huge Christmas distribution. So I know in the past people have donated and made some gifts around their stocks with capital gains taxes and things like that. But if you can address that, that would be helpful too.
Sure, absolutely, and that's a great point, Rachel. And that's probably the best way to donate from an individual standpoint, because typically you'll receive a lot of cash donations. Okay, well, so you're out of pocket that cash, but if you have stock that's been appreciated, so say I own some Coke stock that's worth $5,000, I only paid $500 for it a few years later, I can gift Northside Neighborhood House that stock, which is valued at $5,000. I can take that as a tax deduction on my end, and at the end of the day, I'm not out of pocket anything at that point. And maybe years.
And you're avoiding paying tax on the gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So that
well,
is a
great.
big.
Well, thanks, guys. We appreciate all your firm does for the community. Y'all are very generous to the Northside Neighborhood House, and I know several nonprofits in town. So keep up the great work.
Hey, Rachel, listen, let me just express our thanks to you and what you do in this community. I never understood how great that organization is till I visited your summer camp this summer. And let me say, if you are looking for clothes, it is a great place to go shopping. You got any Christmas sweaters there, Rachel? That's the hottest thing going.
We have some Christmas sweaters. We also are going to have a Christmas sweater booth set up at the Rudolph Run. It's going to take place in Coolidge Park this Saturday.
Okay.
So we've got some great Christmas sweaters and great gifts. I mean, all things. Our Facebook page is posting some of our hot deals each day, so that's
Excellent.
a great place to go.
Listen, Rachel, you do a fantastic job. I am so glad you called in, and all the best to all the folks who help out with the Northside Neighborhood House.
Thanks so much, Jed. Y'all have a great evening.
Great call. Hey, Brian, welcome to the show, buddy. What's your last initial?
S.
All right, Brian, you're on the air.
Hey, Jed, this is your commodities relocation
guy, buddy.
Brian.
That's my favorite truck driver in the world. He never forgets us. All right, Brian, you're on the air, buddy. Whatever you need.
Hey, listen, I hope I'm not asking the wrong question because I just got in radio range and just kind of catching the tail end of all this. My wife and I bought a camper back in the summer, and we were told when we bought it, it's a 2015. We were told when we bought it that we could write it off as a second home on our taxes. Is that true?
Come on, man. This
Yeah.
is don't
Sure.
let him down, man. What can you do?
And obviously the camper has, it's got a bathroom, a kitchen, all
Yeah.
these types of things. Yep.
Yeah, it does.
Sure.
Wow. Good.
Yeah. I mean,
because you can get a mortgage and it's
absolutely.
mortgage interest.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think certainly a houseboat, a camper would fit in the same criteria. So I'm with you there, Brian.
Let's clean that up a little bit, though. You can't write off the house, just the interest you pay for the loan for the camper.
Hey, Brian, you're in luck, man.
Well, that's the reason. Well, we bought the camper because it was kind of a gift to ourselves. We paid our house off.
Good for you,
Hey,
buddy.
There you go.
Nice. Hey,
So,
Brian, let me be the first to wish you and your family a happy holiday. You have been such a great friend to all of my shows, and I just wish you all the best, Brian.
Jed, you too. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you,
And
man.
You are the man.
All right, Brian, I'd love to meet you in person one of these days. Okay, Kevin Rose, James Purgason, y'all have been fantastic. What a great show. It flew by.
It did fly by.
And I am so glad that Rachel Gammon from Northside Neighborhood House, she made the statement where she said thank you to Henderson, Hutchinson, and McCullough for all of their employees who do give back to this community. And Kevin, you've been great. And James, it is just an honor to meet you, buddy. It has been fantastic.
I appreciate you having me. Y'all have been great hosts.
You've got 4 more shows to do with Kevin. It's a team, baby. It's
Sounds
a team.
good.
You got the A-team.
The A-team. All right, I'm not going to forget you. Don't forget to go to jedmescon.com to listen to the podcast of tonight's show. Thank you to the Bread Basket, and this is for your wife. We welcome her to town. Here we go.